Greetings there, props people. It's Tony here from Caveman Props, and I'm back in the very messy workshop to try and get a tutorial done for you. It's a very cold January morning, and what I'm planning on building is something I've just seen in the film. Obviously, I had to wait a little bit for it to come out, and that's the new Spider-Man No Way Home. In that, there is a wonderful prop. It is a magical box of Doctor Strange. If you've not seen the film, I'm not going to try and spoil too much of it, but it's beautifully decorated. Now, there's not very much way of images out there. I've worked on what I've been able to find. It's a very sort of ornate box made from circles, so it's like a circle box and then smoothed off, and then it's got bits added on the end. So I started working out this really complicated way of being able to get it all just like that. When I sort of looked at it again, I was just like, if you want to make it simple, it's a box, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to try and put this together. I'm still kind of working a few bits out as we go along. It is cold. I'm going to have the heater on to warm me up, but it does make a bit of noise, so I'm going to have to keep turning it off between takes. Yeah, so we're going to crack on. I'm going to show you what I've got all planned for you. Right then, so what I've done is I've created this. This is my kind of template of the side. I've kind of worked, there's not many great images. I literally found only about one decent image of it. It's still not that great, so I've kind of worked the best I can. A lot of these details I've taken a little bit of artistic license, but I've tried to keep it as close as possible. So this is going to be our box. It's going to be the ring bits here. There's little inserts here, so it kind of then becomes more of a square out the middle, but we'll accentuate the circle as we build it. I'll show you that. So this is it. So what we've got to do is we've got to do obviously 6 of these to make a box. I'm going to put them down on some 10mm EVA foam. So I'm going to be foam building this. We're going to cut the pieces out and then obviously show you how we kind of start to add the details. So here we go. I don't know how well you can see this on camera. I've kind of marked this out roughly as best as I can. I'm going to go in and add the extra details on it. So this is going to be our main bit of the box, and what we're going to do is with a fresh scalpel blade and our ruler, we are going to be cutting the sides off. Now what we're going to do is, because we want to make this into a box, we can't cut it straight, so we need to try and get at least a 45-degree angle. And the way we do that is obviously we put the knife there, we give it about 45 degrees, push it in, and then we try and keep that angle all the way down up against the ruler, and then hopefully we kind of get the angle that we want there. So we're going to do this all the way around and then cut the middle bit out. The middle bit doesn't need any angles, that just needs cutting straight. So I'm going to get all that done and then show you how we start adding the details to it. So there we are. So I've cut this out. This is all now got the nice angles. I'll cut the ends off here at an angle, because obviously once it's all made up, we obviously need to try and plug that as well. And obviously cut the middle bit out. I've put all the rest of the details on here, with the main bit. Anyway, and what we're going to do is we're going to put these details in by burning them in. I'm going to use I've got a tiny little soldering iron. It's got a tiny little nib on it, so that's going to be perfect for doing these details. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the details on this bit, and I'm just going to do the hexagon in that. I'm not going to do the rest of these just yet, because when the box is together, those go round onto the next part. So I'm going to do them once the box is together, so it all like wraps around. So if they don't quite line up, I can then make it work on that. So we're going to do this. Obviously, when heating EVA foam or burning into EVA foam, it's very toxic, the smells that can come off of it. So I'm going to be wearing a mask. So I'm going to put my mask on now and we'll get those bits done. Just going to take my mask off for a sec. What I'm going to say is, with these bits, these lines, they should all line up, so I'm going to do them straight down like that. So they should all line up like that, but then we're going to get that and get the rest of the details done. Okay, so our next bit is, I didn't put these on the main template that I did, I completely forgot about it, but we're going to put some of these runes around this ring as we do it. So we're just going to use the same again, same the wood burner, or the mini bit, and we're just going to put these in. And then what I've done is I've just pulled these off. If you follow the channel, I did an Excalibur blade that had runes running down the middle, so I've basically just taken these from that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start putting them in, and they don't need to go all the way around. They're going to go from this line to this line, so they're only going to be in this part and leave a little gap on each side here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting them in. I'm going to start just rearranging them, doing them in a different order, so it doesn't look like it's the same all the way around, so sort of like mess it about as if there's a spell on it. So I'm just going to crack on with that. So there we are, so I've done it all the way around now. Hopefully that doesn't look like I've literally just copied the same thing over and over again, tried to make it look a bit more random. That's good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to now accentuate the ring section. And to do that we're going to use just some small strips of foam. I thought I had some 2mm, but I didn't. But what I've done is I've taken some 5mm, I've cut like almost like a 2 to 3mm strip off of it, and then cut that in half. So it's a little bit not square, but that's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to go round the outside. I'm going to put a whole strip as best I can all the way around to create the outside ring, and then I'm going to do the inside exactly the same, except I'm just going to go from that line to that line again. So the same with the under the rune, so there's going to be a gap here, so this bit's going to go straight out into that, and then that bit's going to be enclosed in. So I'm going to get all of that on, so then that should be this side then completed. So there we go, that's all on. I think that's gone on pretty well, and I think it really just kind of adds to the look that we're going for on this. So now that's done, all I've got to do now is repeat this another 5 times, so I've got all 6 sides, and then we're going to put it together as a cube. When I put it together as a cube, I'm going to use contact cement on the sides. If you've never used contact cement, it's brilliant for sticking EVA foam. You put a little bit on, spread it, so you get a nice thin layer on it, let it dry. I generally like to put another second layer onto it, because I want this box to be quite secure, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to put 2 layers on, let them both dry on all parts, and then we'll start assembling it as a cube. Alright, so there we are. So I've got this all together now as a cube. It's looking really good, and now all I need to do now is a cube is finish off the details. So I'm going to finish these bits in here. I might do that in a 5mm foam, so cut the triangle bit out of 5mm foam, get that plugged in there, and then I can start finishing off these details that then wrap around the side there. Once that's done, that's the main body of the box sorted, and then we'll start working on what goes in the middle and what shields the outside bits. So that's where we're up to. So I'm going to finish off the details here, and then we can start working on the inside. So there we go. So I'll put the cap bits in the end here, finish that off. And now we're going to start adding the details, and you can see I've kind of done quite a good job at lining everything up. Some of them just don't quite line up, but what that means now is I can make it all line up, so it all kind of looks a bit more even. So that's why I'm doing this bit now rather than doing it before. Once it's all together, I can put it together. So that's what we're going to start doing now. Right, so there we are. So I've done all of that. Got that all engraved in. It looks really good as it kind of wraps around there. Done the detailing in the end. And then what I've also done is I've taken my heat gun and blasted that all over it just to seal the foam. So what I'm going to do now is to clear up some of these little bits of the glue that's left on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this in a flexible black paint that I've picked up, especially for EVA foam. So we're going to paint that all in black and then add some colour details to it. I'm not going to show you me painting it because I'm pretty sure most of you already know how to paint. So while that's going on, we're going to work on the middle bit. So what I've done is I've created this shape, and then what I've done is I've cut 12 of these out of 5mm foam. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to contact cement along the insides there, because I've cut them all at a beveled angle. I'm going to put them together and I'm going to make this sphere of these shapes. Not quite sure what that's called. I'm sure someone can tell me in the comments. And this is what's going to go in the middle. It's going to be suspended in the middle, but we're going to finish this off and paint it up separately to the box. So I'm going to get the box painted and this all put together. Yeah, so I've kind of charged ahead a little bit. I've put the whole box together, and what I've also done is I've etched in some of the runes round on sides of this, just to add a little bit of detail. I don't know if they're on the original. I kind of remember seeing it on screen. It was almost like translucent and you could see the spell inside. Now obviously I can't do that with the foam, so what I've done is I've just kind of put some of the spell words maybe on the outside. I've taken artistic license with that, but that's how we go. So that's this box. What I'm going to do now, obviously we're going to heat treat this one over, and I'm going to paint it with the exact same black paint that I've done the box, and then we'll start adding the final colour to the outside. So I'm going to crack on, get that painted now. While I'm doing that, or while I'm waiting for that to dry, I've done this template. Now this is for the arms that are going to go inside the box, basically blocking that middle bit off. So I've just done this as a rough 3 different sizes, and I'm going to cut them out of 10mm foam. And what I've done is I've kind of done myself a plan here for what I want the sides to look like, so where they cross over. And then what I can do from that is I'm going to give these all a number, and because some will go that way, some will go that way, so I'll need to work out, because I'm going to add some more details to them. So I need to know how many I need going this way, how many I need going that way, and then kind of to what order they're going to go in. So I'm going to get these cut out, and then I'll show you what we're going to add for details. Okay, so I've cut loads of these out now. I've got the right number, and then what I've done is I've worked out how many are going to go this way, how many are going to go that way, and I've numbered them on the backs. So I know that they're going to go this way round, and then work out where they go in relation to my pattern. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the rotary tool, and I'm just going to work around these just to smooth these off, make them a little bit more organic, and get them to the shape. We're not going to need all of it when it comes, but I'm going to do them all one length. I'm going to work out where they're going to go. They're going to get trimmed off and put in place. So that's probably the reason for this. But we're going to make these all up, and then I'm going to paint them exactly the same. I'm going to add the final details to it in the painting, and then hopefully everything can start going together. Right, okay, I just realised I was kind of jumping ahead of myself and started painting. So this is what I've done to these. I've just curved off the edges, given them a little bit more of a definition of a shape, and then I've basically just took the heat gun over it just to seal off all the outside of the foam. And now I'm obviously going to just paint it with this black flexible paint. This has saved me a lot of time. Before I would have done like a couple of layers of latex on it, given it a base coat of paint, and then put my black over the top before I started adding the other details. This is saving me a lot of time using this. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm just going to finish these ones off, get it all done, and then we can start adding final details and assembly. So right, coming back now to the box, this has all been painted in the black flexible paint, and now what we're going to do is going to add like a little bit more detail to that. And what we're going to do that is we're going to add some green to here and to these sections here. The way we're going to do that is I've got a really nice sort of like dark metallic green, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to do it as a dry brushing technique. So we're going to dry brush this on just slightly, so it's still got some of the black coming through, but it kind of adds that green hue to it that we see in the original pictures of the box. So that is basically what I'm going for. So by doing this over the top, the little inlays are going to stay black. There's going to be some of the black coming through, but it's not going to be like a bright vivid green. And we're going to do the same on these sections here. So it might take 1 or 2 passes. I'm hoping that one. That's looking quite good there. So we're going to do that. I'm going to do that all the way around the box, obviously to let that dry. That's the details on that, and then we'll show the details from the other parts. So there, I've now painted this part, the part that obviously contains the spell. Now you think I've painted this very roughly, but that was kind of my intentions. I was kind of keeping it like it was almost, this was an antique gold, so I've kind of kept it like it was brushing. But that also meant that the gold hasn't gone in very much to these engraved parts. It kind of gives that sort of brush metal effect, which is kind of what I was going for. Not sure really how well that works, but there we go. You might want to try and do it a slightly different way if you want, but this is the way I wanted to do it. So now this is what I'm going to have suspended in the middle of the box. I'm going to work out a way to do that. Probably going to have a couple of arms just like go into a couple of the corners, and the box will be held in the middle of it. So that's that part, and I've also now got these are all done, painted up nice and black. Okay, and now what we're going to do with this is obviously something very similar. So I'm going to get my antique gold. There we go, and I've got my brush. What I'm going to do is a very tiny little bit on it, and we're going to start on the ends. So I'm going to brush it on almost like I'm dry brushing, but quite a heavy one on the side. But then what we'll do is we'll go down the side a little bit more. So we keep this gold, and as we kind of get to the thicker part, that's kind of what I'm after, we're just going to brush that into the middle, so there's like a little bit of effect like that. And then what we can do is we're going to repeat this now on the inside, other side, so we get it nice and coloured here, but as we come off to this bit it's more brushed like a dry brush, and we're going to get that kind of effect running down the middle, and we're going to want that all the way down. So that's what we're going to do here. So we let it on thicker down the sides, and then as it starts to kind of run out, we'll brush that into the middle. So as you can see, that's the kind of effect I'm looking for to run down all the way. So it's going to be brushed like that. So I'm going to continue with that, get all of these done so they're all ready like that, and then we can start our final assembly. Right, so I've now started to assemble this. I've got the bit in the middle here. What I've done, I'm not sure how well you can see it, I've put some 4 just long bits of foam running from 4 corners in a line here, and then we've just suspended this in the middle. I put them in, I made them a little bit longer than they needed to be, just so I could like gauge it and just trim little bits off as you go, and like make sure it fits quite nicely. It's better to have to cut a little bit off than have to try and add more to it. I did have one that I did cut a bit more off, and I've had to add a bit more, but I'm quite pleased with that. It gives it a nice little bit of movement as well, so if you're like carrying it around or it's get knocked, this bit moves, it kind of gives the impression that it's just floating in the middle there. What we're going to do now is going to add these bits in, try and get this under camera as best as possible. So what I'm going to do is gauge where these are going to go, trim them off so it's the right size to fit, and then obviously they're going to get stuck in under there. Obviously when I have the other one that goes on there, I'm going to do the same, gauge where it needs to go, trim it off, but then what I'm going to do is on the end bits just stick another bit of, just a little bit of 10mm foam, just so that that will then sit a little bit lower, so it will sit underneath that one, and you'll get that crossover sort of effect there. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to start this, I'm going to do the first one and give you a look, and then hopefully get the whole thing finished. Okay, I've taken the camera off just to try and show you this bit. a little bit easier. There's not really many places I can put it, so I'm just holding it at the moment. So you can see there, so I've put the other one, it goes underneath the first one, and what I've done is I've just added a little bit of super glue where they cross over, so they're also attached there as well, just to give it that little bit more stability. The one underneath would probably start to sag a little bit, so they're kind of all held on there. So I'm going to crack on, get all the other ones done, and then we can look at the finished prop. Well, there we go, guys. It's all completed. I've put all of those in. The last one was a bit tricky because obviously I worked out, as I kind of got to the second to last one, I was kind of blocking my entranceway in from the sides. But there we go. It's my best way of trying to show you what it looks like. The only thing I've kind of just suddenly realised is I didn't paint the backs of these to gold. So when you look at it a bit closely, you can obviously see the backs of them, but that's not a big deal, and it's something I can always just go back and redo with the paintbrush, just delicately get in there and just paint the backs of them so it doesn't look quite that bad. But there we go. I am very pleased with this. I think this has come out brilliantly considering it's all foam. It definitely looks like something that Doctor Strange would contain the spell in, and I'm very pleased with it considering how bad the images of the original prop were to find. So there we are, guys. So this is this prop finished. I'm considering putting my templates online. If any of you want them, please let me know. Either leave a comment or comment on Facebook asking about them, and I can always just stick them on our Etsy page. But there was, it wasn't a massive, because it's the same print either side, Asian. But if anyone wants any of that or fancying having a go at this, if you do build one yourselves, please tag us in it, because I'd love to see how yours have come out. But there we go, guys. So that's this prop build. So hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, please subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next video very soon.